Hello, everyone. Thank you for joining today's webinar, Stayntouch Product Enhancements, version 5.64 and version 5.65, group rooming list bulk cancellation, display rate name during guest mobility and kiosk checkout, and more, presented by Stayntouch Implementation Consultant, Victor Azul. I'm your host, Erin Fisher, the content writer here at Stayntouch. Today's presentation will cover how you can get the most out of the Stayntouch PMS version 5.64 and version 5.65 product releases. In this webinar, we will explain how to filter charge code by charge code type within the Budgets module, demonstrate how hotel admin users can navigate to other hotels from the menu within Settings, discuss the new service provider dashboard view, highlight the change to the Amadeus S&C or Delphi integration that allows hotels to set a rate code on a group in Stayntouch PMS, even if the group was created via Delphi. Next, we'll explain that cell limits set on a room type level are now sent to DEdge, and inventory count sent to DEdge will reflect the inventory plus the cell limit. Indicate that we have added the update date in the API calls that are used to fetch group data. Explain the new Get Reservations ID Selected Payment Method API that allows vendors to receive the payment type that has been selected for a reservation. Demonstrate the group rooming list bulk cancellation. Show that the rate activity log now records add-on updates. Illustrate the change to the invoice totals order when extended tax breakdown is enabled. Show how to display rate name during Stayntouch guest mobility and kiosk checkout. Explain that for Connect API GET calls, we now restrict the per page parameter set by our vendors to a maximum of 50 records per page. Discuss the new Connect API update to cell limits. Explain that when a reservation is created via CRS, the guest count is now recorded in the Stay Card activity log. Review the details that are now included in the response to ideas if the upload from ideas to Stayntouch PMS fails. And finally, we'll explain the update to the QR code format per ZATCA invoice requirements. We'll have a short Q&A session at the end of the presentation. Feel free to submit questions throughout the presentation, and we will answer them in the order they are received at the end. And that's all I have right now. Victor, I'm going to hand it over to you.
Awesome. Thanks, Erin.
Yeah, thank you.
Let me know if you can see my screen, Erin.
Yep, I see the dashboard.
Dashboard. All right, perfect. All right, let's go ahead and get started. We're going to start off with the release of 5.64 here. The first thing we're going to talk about is in relation to the budgets. With the budgets, the new product enhancement is a filtered charge code by charge code type here. So if I navigate on my dashboard to the menu here, I go to financials, and if you're a property that utilizes budgets, this screen may look familiar to you. I'm going to go into the budgets section here. You can now filter charge codes by the charge code type from the charge code type drop-down filter. So by default, it will be budgeting for markets. With this filter though, all the charge code associated with the charge code type will be displayed here. So as you can see, if I hit the drop down here, I'm able to select charge codes now. The budget totals will be updated accordingly to reflect the filtered amounts. So select charge codes here. You can see all my charge codes here on the left here. And then under the charge code type drop down here, instead of showing all, I can just show room or whatever charge code type I prefer to select here. If I select room here, as you can see, it filters to just showing my room charge codes here. A couple of things to note with this new feature here. Only charge code types in the budget will be displayed in the drop-down filter. Also, when switching from month to day or day to month, the filter will remain and the totals will remain accurate. And then lastly, the filter only displays when the budgeting for dropdown is set to charge codes. So as you can see here, this charge code type filter section will only display if you select charge codes from the dropdown first, and then go into the charge code type and select whatever charge code type you're looking for here. All right, moving over to the next product enhancement feature is in relation if you are a hotel admin user, you can now navigate to other hotels from the menu here. So I'm going to move over to this other property here. Let me just go back. Log in real quick here. So again, if you are a hotel admin user, the new product enhancement feature will allow you to access the different properties under the settings area. Previously, you're only allowed to access the different properties from this drop-down selection here from the main dashboard on the front end of things. But now with the capabilities, you are able to navigate through to the different properties under settings here. And say, for example, you are doing some configuration work under settings here. And you do have to have the permission or the user role as a hotel admin here. But once you do have access to, I don't know, it's taking so long. Let me refresh real quick. So if you are on the back end, as I said, in configuration here, and you say you want to maneuver to a different property instead of the Charter City Chalet here, you can now hit the menu item here and select a different property, and it will take you to whatever property you prefer to go to, and it will take you to that main dashboard. You also have the option to go back to the chain dashboard. If you, again, are a chain admin user, you do have the capabilities to view all your properties under the chain dashboard here. In addition to the hotel user role for hotel admin, we've also included a service provider dashboard view. So I'm going to go ahead and log in into a different account here to show you what that looks like. So again, if you are a service provider dashboard user, there's the new service provider dashboard that you are currently seeing right now. Users with access to multiple hotels are typically those service provider users. And if they have access to different properties under different chains, then we would create them, or it would be created as a service provider user here. A couple things to note here: when you do click on this additional button or selection right here to view all your properties, you will have the option to view all your properties associated under your service provider user here. Please note that these users simply need to click that view all your properties. The search bar is to be used for users that want to go directly into a hotel or chain dashboard, which was existing functionality. So again, previously you could have seen that you could have selected and searched for the property that you currently want to have access to, or you can go ahead and click on the view all your properties selection here, and you'll be able to view all your properties here. From this dashboard, we've added a search bar functionality up here, so you can search by a particular name of that property, particular city, country, and whatnot. You also have options to filter. So if you do have access to different chains with different properties under each chain, you can filter to each of those individual chains if you prefer to see one only. And then you also have the option, if you're a property or a user that utilizes property groups as well, you can filter through additional property groups if you are just looking for one individual property group here. And lastly, the last sort option would be a sorted by. So you can obviously sort by different functionalities here, from name A to Z, Z to A, occupancy ascending descending, which would be the occupancy percentages listed below here. And then you can also do bar ascending as well here. All right. The final items in regards to the release of 5.64 are more of API or integrations that we currently have existing. So I'm going to explain a couple of those that got released with this new 5.64 version. First thing is Amadeus Sales and Catering Delphi integration and the rate code in groups. We have made a change to the Amadeus Sales and Catering Delphi integration that allows hotels to set a rate code on a group in Stayntouch PMS, even if that group was created via Delphi. Once there is a rate code attached to a group, no rate updates from Delphi are applied, but the rate will still stay as defined in that rate code. All other updates are applied as sent by Delphi, only rate amounts will be ignored. This is to allow hotels to set restrictions in the rate code level for groups as well. The next product enhancement is in regards to the CRS integration with D-Edge, that now you are able to utilize room type cell limits. So cell limits set on the room type level are now sent to D-Edge, which is your CRS system if you utilize that integration. And the inventory count sent to D-Edge will reflect the inventory plus the cell limit. The final two Connect API updates for this release. The first one is updated date added to the get/groups and get/groups ID. As requested by our vendors, we have added that update in the API calls that are used to fetch that group data. Again, that's data in regards to the date added to the get/groups and the get/groups ID. And then the next API update is in regards to a fetch selected payment method for a specific reservation. So this is another request by our vendors. The new get/reservations API allows vendors to receive the payment type that they have been selected for a reservation. This is required for multiple payment types are attached to a reservation, and the vendor needs to know which one to use here. So again, fetch selected payment method for specific reservation will allow that vendor to know which payment method is actually being used for that particular reservation here. So those are the product enhancements for the release of 5.64. Now we're going to talk about the release enhancements for 5.65 here. I'm going to maneuver over to our property here again. The first enhancement, product enhancement that got released with this version here is in regards to the group rooming list and bulk cancellation here. You can now complete a bulk cancellation from rooming list tab. Maneuvering over from the menu here, we're going to go into the groups. We're going to go into manage groups here, and I'm going to go ahead and select one of my groups here. I'm going to go and maneuver over to the rooming list section here. And to complete a bulk cancellation, begin by selecting more than one reservation from the rooming list here. So as you can see, I have all the reservations listed here. I'm going to go in and select about 5 of these reservations here. You'll then notice the cancellation reservation button that appears at the very top. Upon clicking that button, you'll see a preview of the reservations to be canceled. A couple things to note with this, as you can see on the right side on the status here, you do see a couple of these reservations that I've already selected or I've selected already have been canceled here. So when I go ahead and click on the cancel reservations, those reservations will obviously not appear. It will only display the ones that I am able to cancel here. So I can go ahead and cancel selected reservations here. And I went ahead and canceled both of those reservations there. Obviously, if you did not wish to cancel any of those reservations, you would just hit that do not cancel. No, don't cancel those reservations here. Couple things to know with this new product enhancement. No action is performed on already canceled, checked in, or checked out reservations. As you can see, nothing could have been done with those 3 previous checked or canceled reservations. And these reservations will not appear in that preview pop-up, which I did call out a second ago. Bulk cancellations are also recorded in the group activity log tab here. So if I maneuver now to the activity log here, I can now see that these reservations were canceled from the rooming list here. The next product enhancement from this release is in regards to the rate activity log records in regards to the add-ons for rates. So I'm going to maneuver over to the menu here, go into settings, settings again. I'm going to find a rate here. So I'm going to go to rates and then rates again. Let's go ahead and use that baby wedding rate again. I'm going to open up my rate details here. Scroll down to the bottom. Open up my add-ons here. So as you can see, I do have add-ons already attached to this rate here. I do have my breakfast package and the champagne included. One of them is added to the price, the other is included to the price. I'll go in and deselect both of these. Let's go ahead and add this dinner package instead. And let's go ahead and add this pet package as well. And we'll do that include in price here. And I'll scroll down and save here. With this new product enhancement again, now that I made those changes in regards to the add-ons, if I go back to my rate details section here, scroll down to the bottom under the activity log, I can now see those adjustments that I made here. That I removed the pet package here, and then I removed the champagne and then breakfast package, and then I included the new pet package as well as this dinner package as well. So previously this was not documented under the activity log here, but now with this product enhancement, you are able to see which add-ons were either removed or added to the particular rate that you are viewing here. The next product enhancement for this release here is in regards to change to the invoice totals order when extended tax breakdown is enabled. So again, if you're a property that utilizes this tax breakdown, when you are reviewing your invoices, you'll be able to see an in-depth look of the tax breakdown here. When the tax breakdown is enabled in Stayntouch here, so I'm going to go to settings here, settings again. going to go into financials here. Going to go to my financial settings. I'm going to enable extended tax breakdown. First things first, though, I'm going to show you to preview what it actually looks like without setting that up. I'm just going to pull up a reservation here. Going to go under billing charges here. Going to go to my invoice, and I'll select pro forma invoice. And without the extended tax breakdown enabled, this is what you're seeing. This is the most common one that most properties will see, of just the information, total charge, total credits, net amount, and balance listed below here. Now I'm going to go ahead and enable the extended tax breakdown. So I'm going to go into settings and settings again. Go to my financials, financial settings, and then enable extended tax breakdown. I'll go ahead and save changes and pull up that same reservation. Under Jessica Bowman here. I'm going to go bill and charges, invoice again, select the pro forma invoice, and print that. Should show you a preview. So with the extended tax breakdown, you do see additional fields here that'll actually break it down with your tax breakdown here. The changes has been applied to all invoice templates where the extended tax breakdown is shown. These include the following: the pro forma invoice, which I'm displaying right now, informational invoices, except when the high tax setting is enabled, deposit invoices, final invoices for guest invoices, account invoices, group invoices, and copy of invoices, and then as well as AR invoices. Again, when the extended tax breakdown is not enabled, the order of the total changes on invoice will retain the existing order, which is just what that means, or is being displayed right here. The next product enhancement is in regards to the guest mobility and the guest kiosk checkout process within Stayntouch. You can now choose to display the rate name translation instead of the charge code name during the Stayntouch guest mobility and Stayntouch guest kiosk checkout process here. So this was a release or a enhancement that was released a couple of weeks ago in regards to when you are creating a rate here. You do have the flexibility now to display the actual rate name here. So for example, let's select this Amazon rate here. When I'm building out that rate here, I do have the option to display that rate name on the bill/folio here. So again, this will be displayed on the invoice, but now with this new enhancement product release, you are able to see that same rate name on the guest mobility when you are checking out, as well as the guest kiosk here. I don't have a demo for this, but I do have the screenshots for this. So again, this is the guest mobility section right here. Then instead of saying room charge, you are able to now see the rate name here, which in this case is breakfast and bed rate. You also will be able to see that if you are a guest and you are a property utilizing our kiosk as well, and you're checking out via the kiosk, you'll be also able to now see the rate name here under breakfast and bed rate here, instead of, again, the default one, which would just be room charge. The last product enhancements in regards to version 5.65 are again in relation to API releases. The first one is in regards to the APIs with pagination maximum records per page set to 50. Previously, our Connect API GET calls had a default of 25 records per page, but no restrictions on the maximum number of records per page. As of this new release, we now restrict that per page parameter set by our vendors to a maximum of 50 records per page. If more than 50 records per page are requested, the API calls will fail and display a message indicating that the maximum number of records per page have been exceeded. The next API topic here is a new Connect API to update cell limits here. A new API has been created to allow vendors to add cell limits to Stayntouch PMS here. This was requested by a revenue management system connected to Stayntouch PMS via the Connect APIs, and allows them to control the availability limits via the RMS system there. The next thing is in regards to CRS reservations. Now that the guest count recorded in StayCard is going to be displayed in the activity log here. When a reservation is created via your central reservation system, your CRS system, the StayCard activity log in Stayntouch PMS will now show the guest count, adults/children for the create reservation activity. Again, that would just mean when you are reviewing the activity log for a particular reservation, you are able to see that additional guest count for adults/children as well. The last thing is detail sent to ideas, which is an RMS system here. If upload from ideas to Stayntouch PMS fails, basically the following details are now included in the response to ideas. If the upload from ideas to Stayntouch fails, those details are the date range, the rate code, and the room type as well. The last product enhancement for version 5.65 release here is a country-specific requirement here, and it's in relation to the update to the QR code format per ZATCA invoice requirements here. So again, finding a little screenshot here. Basically, to meet the requirements of the ZATCA invoice integration in Saudi Arabia for our properties out in Saudi Arabia, the QR code format now meets the following criteria when the ZATCA QR code format is enabled by Stayntouch admin here. So here's a little description. Again, this is included in our release notes if you want to review this. If again you are a property in Saudi Arabia of ours. Basically, if you do want to toggle this on or enable this, please contact our customer support and they will be able to work with you to make sure that this is toggled on and you'll be able to be utilizing this feature here. That wraps up all the topics configured for release during versions 5.64 and version 5.65. I'm going to hand it back to Erin for any questions.
Awesome. Thanks, Victor. I'd now like to turn over the floor for questions. Remember, you can submit questions through the question box in the middle of the control panel. So the first question is from Dylan. What is your definition of a service provider? So a service provider is a user that has access to multiple hotels. The service provider is just the specific instance that the user has access to, so where all of your hotels will show up. So those service provider users are just the multi-property users. Okay. Any other questions?
I can add into that question too, Erin, real quick.
Okay. Yep.
Service provider also would be maybe a consultant possibility that needs access to multiple properties under different chains, and obviously they would not be a chain admin because that would grant them access to all properties under the chain, but maybe they only need access to one property. Again, I would reference like a consultant that would typically have those capabilities there.
Yep, thank you. All right, the next question is from Andrew. Can you review the updates made to Amadeus Delphi ASEM again? What I took away is that rates no longer change in Stayntouch if you change them in Delphi. Is that correct?
Correct. And we can look further into additional information in regards to that, but it looks like only the rate amounts are being ignored with this new product enhancement with the Amadeus Sales and Catering via Delphi.
Awesome, thanks. I'm not seeing any other questions, but I'll give everyone a few more seconds to enter those. All right, if there are no other questions, I'll switch back to my screen. All right, so in this webinar, we explained how to filter charge code by charge code type within the budgets module, demonstrated how hotel admin users can navigate to other hotels from the menu within settings, discussed the new service provider dashboard view, highlighted the change to the Amadeus S&C or Delphi integration that allows hotels to set a rate code on a group in Stayntouch PMS, even if the group was created via Delphi. Explain that cell limits set on a room type level are now sent to DEdge, and inventory count sent to DEdge will reflect the inventory plus the cell limit. Indicated that we have added the update date in the API calls that are used to fetch the group data. Explain the new Get Reservations ID Selected Payment Method API that allows vendors to receive the payment type that has been selected for a reservation. Demonstrated the group rooming list bulk cancellation. Showed that the rate activity log now records add-on updates. illustrated the change to invoice totals order when extended tax breakdown is enabled, showed how to display rate name during Stayntouch Guest Kiosk and mobility checkout, explained that for connected API GET calls, we now restrict the per page parameter set by our vendors to a maximum of 50 records per page, discussed the new Connect API update to cell limits, explained that when a reservation is created via CRS, the guest count is now recorded in the Stay Card activity log, reviewed the details that are now included in the response to ideas if the upload from ideas to Stayntouch PMS fails, and explained that the update to the QR code format per ZATCA invoice requirements. With that, I'd like to conclude our presentation. Thank you all for coming, and if you have any additional questions, please feel free to email me at erin.fisher@stayntouch.com. Thanks again.